It feels like everyone is misunderstanding this quote from Belly in the confession scene. She tells Conrad, "I put up with a lot worse from you." Are people really not understanding why she's saying this? I feel like it is so obvious, and the show has made it so obvious, that the reason she's saying this is because everything that Conrad does, she feels it 100 times stronger than anything Jeremiah could ever do. Jeremiah can full on cheat on her, and it doesn't hurt as bad as when Conrad shut her out in season 2. In Belly's own words, she was out of her mind in love with Conrad. It was all consuming. She loved him with literally every single part of her. And she says in season 2, "I am never going to let him affect me like that again." And she has tried so hard to stick to that promise. The reason she's so angry now is because he is affecting her like that again. And she promised herself she would not let that happen. It's why she is so angry in this scene, and just so angry in general, because he still affects her that way, and he actually never stopped affecting her that way. She cares so much, and this is why anything that Conrad does could hurt her 1,000,000 times more than anything Jeremiah could ever do. I feel like it's just so clear that she's so deep in this denial that obviously cheating is way worse than what Conrad did. Conrad was grieving, but to her, that hurt way more than the cheating ever did. And I feel like it just shows the depth of love she has for him. In season 2, she also talks about how her mom would not care if her dad cheated on her. And that's her now. She doesn't care about the cheating anymore. But she still cares about what Conrad did to her. To cope, her brain paints Conrad as this villain because that's the only way that she can stay in this denial. And I just feel like that explains everything of why she said what she said. And I hope that we can just kind of give her more grace. I'm going to make another video about why I'm so heartbroken for her, obviously Conrad as well, but it is so heartbreaking to see what she's going through right now, and I think we should have some sympathy for her character as well. Absolutely none for this fucking freak. So we got arguably one of the most devastating scenes of the entire show last night, and I really want to talk about it, and I want to talk about why I'm not only so heartbroken for Conrad here, obviously I mean everyone is, but I am so beyond heartbroken for Belly, and I feel like people need to have more sympathy for what she's going through, and I want to kind of go into that. I'm not understanding how people aren't heartbroken for Belly right now. She is so obviously spiraling. She feels completely trapped because literally no matter what she does, someone is going to get hurt. She is absolutely terrified. She's terrified of A, getting married to Jeremiah when she knows that's not the right decision. She does not want to get married. This is not the wedding she wants. And B, she's terrified because everything Conrad said to her, she is still so scared of him giving it and taking it away again like he did. She cannot risk getting back into that with Conrad. It destroyed her the first time. And she is so terrified that he is just going to do it all over again and take away his love when things get hard, like she told him. She's not letting herself believe what Conrad is saying because she cannot risk feeling like that again. And it also has to do with the fact that if she does go there again, like, the last 4 years that she's spent with Jeremiah will, obviously, be destroyed. And she does care about that. She doesn't feel the depth of love for Jeremiah that she does for Conrad, obviously, but those were 4 years of her life. And she's also devastated because it's already gone to shit. It is already falling apart, and she knows that. The reason she was so cruel to Conrad is because she cares so much about what's happening. If she didn't care about Conrad, if she was in the right mind, she would have probably just let him down easy. But she cares so much, which is why she responded this way. She was so emotional, and I don't understand how people can't kind of relate to that. If this happened to you, where you were engaged to your boyfriend of 4 years, and your first love comes back and tells you that he's loved you this whole time, 2 days before the wedding, you would also be spiraling. Because again, we know how much Conrad loves Belly. He loves her with every single part of him, and I love him. He's my favorite character. But Belly does not know this extent. She is still finding out. She found out this night that he's the one who's doing these things for her, helping her, being there for her. He is the only person who can make her feel this deeply, and that's terrifying to her. Another reason she lashes out so harshly in the situation is because she's furious that she could have had everything she ever wanted with her dream guy, and she couldn't because she's dug herself so deep in this hole and she has no idea how to get out. Again, she's been with Jeremiah for 4 years. She's trying to do what she thinks is the right thing, while at the same time trying not to fall back into that painful cycle with Conrad that she thinks would happen again. And I think everything she said was really cruel, heartbreaking to watch Conrad receive it. But we need to remember some of the stuff that Conrad said to her in season 2. At the funeral, he told her that it was a mistake ever starting something with her. We know the reasons that he feels that way. The reasons he feels that way was because he knew he wasn't in the right headspace to start that. That's what his mistake was. We know that he doesn't truly feel that it was a mistake starting something with her because he loves her so much. But he said that so that she would let him go. That's why he says good after she says, I hate you. This is her. In the book, literal monologue, she says, I need to say something so that he would let me go forever. And that's when she says, you and I were never anything. It is the exact same thing. And I mean, I guess Conrad did get lots of hate for season 2, which I also think was completely unwarranted. I just think we need to be understanding of both of these characters so much more than we are being, because there's so much nuance to everything that they're saying, and there is so much reasoning behind all of like their word choices. They both have that reason of they want to let the other one go because their feelings are so strong that they don't believe that they can give that to each other, or they're scared of receiving it. And just to tie it all in, using Loss of My Life by Taylor Swift worked so heartbreakingly well at the end, because this lyric down here where it says, I thought I was better safe than starry-eyed, encompasses everything that Belly was feeling and all the regret she's feeling now and all of the sadness that this situation has all brought her. And things are just going to get even harder for her in the next episode, and I am just so excited for her to go to Paris and to free herself from her relationship with Jeremiah and find healing and realize that how her love with Conrad can be good and safe and what she wants. So, oh my god, I am so heartbroken over all of it, and I just hope that I kind of gave some insight as to why I think people need to be a little easier on Belly and understand why she responded the way she did, while also being so heartbroken for him, obviously. And I will just forever be Team Conrad above everything, because honestly, of these two quotes right here, the love they have for each other is stronger than the love they can have for anyone else in the world, and they are truly meant to be. So I'm just so excited to see both of their healing journeys that they both desperately need to have before getting back together, and they will be happy in the end. I want to talk about how this absolutely heartbreaking, gut-wrenching moment for Conrad is going to be one of the most important aspects of his character arc and so monumental for him. I think most of us were sobbing along with him. Chris Briney did such a good job at just portraying how gutted and desperate Conrad was in the moment, and it was so heartbreaking to see. I mean, for so many of us, Conrad is our favorite character, and seeing him so sad like this after how sad we've seen him throughout the season, it was so hard to watch. Like, I've probably cried 4 separate times today just thinking about it. But it is so important that he does this, because he, for once, has laid himself completely bare. Earlier in the season, he literally admitted how much he struggles with looking weak in front of Belly, how he tried to be the guy who hung the moon for her, how he always tried to fix everything for her, how he has a hero complex. But in this scene, he's literally dropping all of that. He finally let go of that pressure and need to be perfect all the time, and instead does something so much more important, which was finally be honest. This is absolutely huge for Conrad, because he is never selfish. He is always sacrificing, always putting everyone else first, and always holding back. Everything he's been bottling up finally bubbled up to the surface, and he let it all out in this like raw confession to Belly, which was just so beautiful to see and so heartbreaking. And as painful as it was so necessary for Belly to hear it, and not just that, but for him to finally say it out loud for himself too. And one thing I'm so curious about is how the porch conversation from the next morning is going to play out in the show. This is the one where Conrad follows Belly out to the porch and tells her to forget about everything he said. She calls him heartless, he calls her heartless back, storms off in the car, and then we get his POV, and he's like, I was elated, like she loved me, I knew it just from the way she looked at me just then. For the show, there's some things I want them to keep and there's some things I want them to change. In the book, he doesn't specifically take it back per se, but he does say he was just super drunk and that Belly should just forget about it. And Belly's absolutely furious at this, which like she should be, because he's giving it and taking it away again. So I do hope that in the show it's played a little differently and he doesn't regress to take it back again. He might still say like, forget about it, But I hope he doesn't try to pretend that it wasn't a real confession for him. But so many of the book moments have been so accurate, so I'm guessing it'll be pretty similar. I just hope that they do show his growth in that way. And the fight that follows is one of my absolute favorites. I need to hear Conrad say, "I'm not pretending for you anymore." I need to hear the heartless lines from both of them, and I need to hear Belly, hopefully in her inner monologue, say Conrad made her feel everything, joy, anger, sadness, and that he was the only one who could ever make her feel that way. And I'm pretty positive the show's going to keep the heartless line. That one is a very fan favorite one, so I think we'll for sure be getting it. But yeah, absolutely gutted for our boy right here, and I'm just going to be spiraling for the next week until we get the next episode and see how it all plays out. I really think the next episode is going to close a lot of things up, and it's going to be jam-packed, and I can maybe do a little predictions video if you guys would want that, but yeah. Let's talk about how Conrad approaches telling Belly about Cabo and how it really speaks on his character and also differs from Jeremiah. When Conrad tells Belly, she responds that she already knows and that she forgave him already and that he hates himself for it. I think it's really important to talk about what Conrad chooses not to do in this situation. He doesn't use this as a chance to completely destroy her image of Jeremiah. He has a lot more incriminating evidence on Jeremiah, but he chooses not to say, "Oh, he doesn't hate himself, he was laughing about it with his frat boys at the bar." He doesn't say, "They were so loud that they locked everyone out of the room all night." He doesn't even say his line from the book that says, "He spent the night in some hotel room with some girl and you're defending him." Why? Because he doesn't want to break Belly's heart more than he already assumes it is. He still cares about protecting Belly's heart and her feelings here, but he also still cares about protecting his brother. Conrad has always defended Jeremiah to everyone else. We've seen him do it countless times this season already. He does it to Adam, he's done it to Laurel, he does it to Agnes. This is something that is common for him. It's instinct for him to protect the people that he loves. This moment right here is actually one of the first times we've ever seen him hold Jeremiah accountable in front of someone else. Now let's imagine the roles were reversed, which would never happen because Conrad would never cheat on Belly, but if they were, Jeremiah would not hold back. Jeremiah does not take any of Belly's feelings into account when it comes to berating his brother. He doesn't care how much it'll hurt Belly as long as he can acknowledge Conrad's faults. He would be ripping into Conrad, probably yelling at Belly at the same time. And my proof? We've seen it before. I truly don't know how anyone could be Team Jeremiah after this scene. It honestly triggers me, but in this one, he yells at Belly and says, "You're sorry for what? For Conrad dumping you? Did you really not see that coming? Because I did." First of all, that is so insanely rude and genuinely mean-spirited to say to someone who you apparently like. I can't fathom why anyone would root for this man. In this fight, he berates Conrad and says when things aren't perfect, instead of trying to fix things, he just throws them away. Which isn't even true because he contradicts himself in the next episode when he yells at Conrad and says, "Will you try to let someone else fix things for once?" But anyway, then he goes on to use Belly for leverage again and says, "He did it to you too, Belly. When things got tough, he couldn't handle it and he dropped you." Which I will forever be grateful that Belly stood her ground and said, "Do not use me to get at him." Jeremiah constantly villainizes Conrad no matter what, and he doesn't care if Belly gets mixed up in the crossfire. It's not even just with Belly, because he talks poorly on Conrad to other people as well. He's called him an asshole before. He says snarky things to his dad, like, "He doesn't tell me anything." He's always bringing him down in front of others. And it's because he is so deeply insecure about Conrad being better than him. And I think this is such a purposeful, stark difference that speaks volumes on who each of the character is as a person and how their faults affect other people around them. All of Conrad's faults have to do with his selflessness, whereas Jeremiah's faults have to do with his selfishness. I want to talk about Conrad in the last episode and talk about what we saw and how it really shapes who he is as a character and as a love interest and everything he went through in the episode, and kind of just sing his praises for a little bit. We have been shown over and over just how unconditional Conrad's love for Belly is. When Belly asks him, "Why did you talk to my mom to convince her to come to the bridal shower?" he says, "Because it was important to you. Because shit, Belly, I don't know, it's your wedding day and you should have everything you've ever pictured." When Belly first asks him this, he's confused because to him the answer is so obvious. It's innate for him. Of course he would. He would literally do anything for her, and he's confused about why she's even confused about that because to him it's just instinct. And he also never expects credit for any of it because all he truly wants is Belly's happiness from it and nothing in return. It's like with the dirt bombs, when he made them, he didn't tell her that he made those. She found them and was like, did you bake these? And then he took credit, and he's like, of course, I never forget your birthday. He was not going to tell Belly that he was the one who convinced Laurel to come, because his motives never have anything to do with his own ego, and it truly has everything to do with his love for Belly. Another thing that happens in this episode is obviously Conrad finding out about Cabo. This was another huge heartbreaking moment for him in the episode, because it was more than just him finding out that Jeremiah cheated on Belly. It's the fact that he just found out that the love of his life had to go through the same thing that his own mother did. It's about him seeing the growing pattern of how his brother is turning into the father who he hates so much. He already noticed some of the similarities when they all went suit shopping together, and Jeremiah and Adam were joking about the same things, laughing about the same things. He knows that Jeremiah is desperate for Adam's approval. And I feel like such a great scene in this past episode was when Jeremiah told Conrad that he got the full-time job at Breaker. And Conrad immediately said, like, you're not taking it, right? He tells Jeremiah immediately, like, I want you to do something that actually makes you happy. And he says, you can do so much better than following in Dad's footsteps. And to this, Jeremiah makes a weirdly bitter face for some reason. But it's just so sad to see how he is trying to protect Jeremiah from becoming like Adam. And this was kind of like a nail in the coffin to that. His face right here was realization and disgust towards what he sees his brother's becoming, and what he sees his brother has done to Belly, and that sort of betrayal too. So it's like a double punch to the gut, because he's not just devastated about realizing this, he's devastated about the fact that he trusted his brother so much to look after Belly, to take care of her, to be the one who makes her happy, and he is not doing that. He realizes he let Belly go into the hands of someone just like his father. What becomes even more devastating for him is when he tells Belly and he finds that she is putting up with it. He's hurting not only because he let her go, but because he sees her defending something that he knows she does not believe in. Like he told her, he did not think she was the type of girl to put up with this, because she's not. He does know Belly better than anyone, and he knows that she isn't being true to herself. He knows that Belly doesn't care about having her wedding at a country club, and the fact that she would probably hate it. He knows she doesn't care about the flowers or the dresses. All she cared about was having her mom there, so he did that for her. And then Belly tells him, you don't even know me anymore, but an hour ago she was crying in the bathroom about how she never had a wedding where she dreamed about country clubs or flowers or dresses, so he is right about this. And I mean, the show has just done such a good job at showing the last 3 seasons that he really does know her better than anyone. And this season has shown her so lost in her relationship with Jeremiah and has lost her sense of self that I think he is going to play a major role in her finding that again. Although she is going to do it on her own, but I think he's going to encourage is what I mean. My theory is that all of this is kind of going to foreshadow Paris. We already saw her encourage her to go to Paris back in episode 5 when he said it'll still be there after graduation. And I guess I just think I could totally see him being the one that after the whole wedding drama is done, she has called off the wedding, her and Jeremiah have broken up, and they both realize that they still love each other. I think he may be the one to give her that push to go to Paris and find herself there. And I think he will remind her that he will be waiting for her whenever she's ready, if ever she's ready, which she will be. And I don't know, he's obviously also going to be in Paris, so I don't know how that storyline's going to play out, but I'm really excited for it.